eye on everything going on related to Iran's nuclear program.
Senator Cotton interviewed this week by the Salem Radio Network. The head of NVIDIA downplayed his role in getting the U.S. government to lift a ban on selling an advanced computer chip in China and said it will take time to ramp up production. Speaking to reporters in Beijing, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang said the H20 graphics processing unit is powerful, but not the most advanced.
H20 has some very of course, it is not the highest performance of NVIDIA's products today, but the memory bandwidth is still extremely good. It is still extremely good. So for inference and reasoning model inference, H20 is still going to be excellent.
And Wang met with President Trump before his trip, and his company announced this week it had received assurances that sales in China would be approved. More from townhall.com.
Summer is all about making great memories. Boy, I love getting out on the boat. I admit that one of my little joys in life is to get on a boat and ride around on Tampa Bay. But if you're living with pain, those future memories can be stolen from you. Here's a thought. Try Relief Factor. Let's see if we can get you out of pain. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement designed to help your body fight pain. It's a doctor-developed formula made of natural ingredients. The best part of all, Relief Factor never masks the pain. It helps reduce or even eliminate it for good. Whether it's doing what I do, whether it's kayaking on a lake, running around with the little ones, or just chilling in the hammock with a good book, Relief Factor can help you feel better, move better, and do more of the things you love all summer long. So if you're ready to reclaim your summer and make some amazing memories, head over to ReliefFactor.com or give them a call at 800-4-RELIEF. 800-4-RELIEF. Do it now and get their 3-week quick start for just $19.95. That number again, 1-800-4-RELIEF. 800-4-RELIEF. Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor.
An Arizona home believed to be owned by a 3-time MLB All-Star has been burglarized.
Police are investigating a burglary at a home reportedly owned by Arizona Diamondbacks star Ketel Marte. The incident occurred Tuesday night while Marte was playing in the MLB All-Star game in Atlanta. Authorities describe it as a, quote, high-dollar residential burglary, end quote, involving stolen personal items and jewelry. No one was home during the break-in. Records from the Maricopa County Assessor's Office confirm Marte owns a property on the block. The investigation remains active. No further details have been released. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
Shohei Ohtani has co-written a children's book featuring his dog Decoy. The Los Angeles Dodgers star shared the news on Thursday on Instagram, posting a photo of Decoy, the Dutch Koekerhondje, with the book entitled Decoy Saves Opening Day. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. Layoffs at the EPA.
The Environmental Protection Agency says it'll lose 3,700 employees. The agency's Office of Research and Development has long provided scientific guidance for EPA's mission to protect the environment and human health. The EPA said in May that it would shift its scientific expertise and research efforts to program offices that focus on major issues like air and water. Haya Panjwani, Washington.
A man was pulled into an MRI machine in New York after he walked into the room wearing a large chain necklace. Police say the 61-year-old man had entered an MRI room while a scan was underway on Wednesday. Police say the machine's strong magnetic force drew the man in by the necklace, resulting in what they described as a medical episode. It left the man hospitalized and in critical condition, recovering from his injuries. You'll find more of these stories at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Bob Agnew.
When disaster strikes, flood or fire, every second counts. At Emergency Construction Group, they specialize in immediate response and same-day service for any residential, commercial, or industrial emergency across the Chicagoland area. With over 30 years of experience, they've got the expertise, manpower, and equipment to handle any size loss fast. They follow strict IICRC guidelines to restore your property the right way, the first time. Their team values transparency, constant communication, and strong ethical standards because your peace of mind matters. Licensed, bonded, and insured, they're here for you 24/7, 365 days a year. Call 855-4ECG now. That's 855-432-4669. Or visit their website at emergencyconstructiongroup.com. And let Emergency Construction Group put your life back together one step at a time. That's Emergency Construction Group. Your satisfaction is their passion.
things Chicago sports, and your host, Mike Napolitano.
I'm Italian. I get yelled at all the time. This is normal for me. Are you kidding me?
I love it.
With the Italians, we get really high, we get really emotional, and then we bring it right back down. And I'm just in the right back down part right now.
Dalton Cooper.
I think this is the year. I think this is the year he throws for over 4,000 yards. I think Ben Johnson has an understanding of how to take a quarterback and elevate. We've seen what he's done with Jared Goff. Obviously, Jared Goff had gotten to Super Bowl, and he was working with Sean McVay, but.
And Brandon Combs.
To tell me that a guy in Barry Bonds, who in 2004 has more hits and intentional walks than swings and misses. For a guy who watches Luis Robert and cheers him on, you're going to tell me Barry Bonds does not belong in the Hall of Fame? You are out of your mind, sir.
On WRMN 1410 AM, the voice of the Valley.
Welcome into AM 1410 WRMN. You're listening to On the Rise here. Myself, Mike Napolitano, with Dalton Cooper. On the board, Nick Johnson, and zooming in is Brandon Combs. We're going to get a chance to talk to Brandon very shortly, of course, because he was on a mission last week when we talked to him last. However, before we jump into that, you can make sure you are following us on all of our socials. That is at WRMN on Instagram, or the On the Rise account. That is on_the_rise_ is it 1410?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there we go.
Made it nice and easy.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
It wasn't taken. You know what I mean? You know how those things go.
But then also you can follow us on X. That's Brandon at Real Combsy. Myself, Mike Napolitano. Dalton Cooper is Dalton Cooper. And Nick Johnson, and Johnston 6351. But let's get into Brandon's trip this past weekend. You were on the move, my man, and you brought us some extraordinary UFC content. Tell me a little bit about Nashville.
Yeah, man, Nashville was great. But before we get to that, man, I think I'm going to change my Twitter handle to underscore score underscore.
All spelled out.
Legit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Ooh, spelled out. I like that. Yes, I like that.
So, yeah, no. Look, Nashville was great, man. UFC, I didn't realize how well they take care of their media. And man, they take care of you. I can't wait for 319 to be able to do all 4 days and get to experience, the media day, get to experience the weigh-ins, that type of stuff. Unfortunately, I still have to work, still have to pay my bills, so I couldn't experience that in Nashville. But the event itself, man, when you walk through the doors, you're greeted. They give you your media credentials and immediately take you to the room. And inside the media room, air conditioning was cranking, which was much needed in Nashville because it was 7, but it felt like it was 197 with the humidity. And they have a spread, man. And in this spread is steak and ribs and all of this other stuff. Like, I mean, it was a spread. And then you go in and you start doing your pre-fight. You talk to some of the fighters pre-fight. They take you out to your seats. You get to choose whether or not you want to sit ringside or whether or not you want to sit in the press box. And the press box is for people that are going to be using like audio of the fight or video of the fights themselves. I chose this time. I was like, you know what? Let's take this in. Let's figure out what it's going to be. And when you're ringside, they don't let you take any videos or any photos, anything like that during the fights. You can only do the pre-fight walk-ups or after the fight is over. So there's a lot of like when you're sitting there. First of all, I mean, the UFC to allow the press to sit ringside when people are paying. Like it was something like $1,700.
Yeah,
just front row at this event, and it's just incredible, man. And for a guy who's a lifelong UFC guy, I followed these guys all over the place. It was absolutely an incredible experience, and I can't wait to do it again. And hats off to the UFC because of the way that they treat you. I mean, even after the fight, there was another spread, by the way. I just want to throw that out there. I'm a fat guy.
I love it.
I love how you literally took your hat off for him,
I'm
too.
an Italian, so I'm all here for it. I love listening to this.
And halfway through, they give you a snack. So
is amazing.
It was incredible. And after each fight, you do have the ability to go and do the post fight interview. The problem with a lot of the fighters that were in this one, as far as post fight interviews go, a lot of them don't speak English.
Oh.
They do have an interpreter, and it was it was on the opposite side of the arena, so it was a long walk to get back to the press room. So I went back for a couple of them. It was a lot of fun. The Derek Lewis, man, when he knocks out Teixeira in 35 seconds, and for those of you that are just getting into UFC or have never watched UFC, Derek Lewis is a monster. And before the fights, I told Derek Lewis I bet on him. I told Derek Lewis,
No shame.
I said, I just so you know, I've got money on you tonight. And his words were, bet. And he knocks this guy out in 35 seconds. And as he's walking by, I don't know, I think I sent you guys the clip where I get a fist bump from him. But you can see this look that he gives me as he fist bumps me. And it was so incredible because when I got back to the press room for his post-fight interview, he goes, "Hey, give me $300."
Yes. The correct response. Yeah.
Yeah. So I asked him too, because he was one of those guys a couple fights back, probably about a year and a half ago. After he won a fight, it was in the third round, and he took his shorts off and he threw them into the crowd.
Yeah.
And they asked him, they said, why'd you take your shorts off? And he goes, "Man, my balls was hot."
I do remember
his
that.
exact words.
You had a good one this time.
Yes, he had a great. His post-fight interviews are amazing.
Is this before or after the phone call with Trump?
Oh, this was after.
This was after. So I'm in the press room, and he actually went into the press room and started eating the spread, just so you know as well.
That's what I was gonna say. Is that spread that they laid out for you? You probably walked in and you're like, wait, I'm not one of the ones fighting, and they were like, no, this is what we get for press.
It's also that, and no one's gonna tell Derek Lewis no.
I was gonna say, who's gonna stop him?
Yeah, also that, yeah.
Derek Lewis ate his spread that he came up in 8 hours.
Good.
Nice.
But while he was eating, I went to go grab my bag that was sitting there, and I went to go grab it, and I said, "Hey, Derek," I said, "you knocked him out quick." I said, "You didn't have time for your balls to get hot, huh?" And he looks at his wife and he goes, "No, but they will." I was like, "Oh, this is it was the greatest night of my life." It was so, I wouldn't say greatest night of my life. I have to reserve that for my wife and my kids. But
yeah,
a lot of ground and pound.
It was
that
up
day.
there.
That's what he said.
It was up there. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Fantastic night, man. And the UFC does a great job. Any of you guys that want to put in for it, I highly recommend experiencing it at least once.
Or even going as a fan. I know sometimes, especially like when it comes here to Chicago, tickets are hard to get, and even when you can access those tickets, they're a little bit on the pricier side. But I mean, the type of event you're probably going to get a chance to see is second to none. I feel bad because I'm Italian and I didn't even go into the wonderful spread that NASCAR had for us. But a lot of these press events go all in and all out. Of course, when we're specifically, just to name a few, when we're at Soldier Field covering the Fire or the Stars, they do a really nice spread because it is more so Soldier Field. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Fire and the Stars have a hand in it as well, but the venue speaks to, the quality of dinner that you're getting and whatnot. So, they treat press really well, and it sounds like UFC goes even above and beyond. So that's awesome, my man. I'm so happy for you, and looking forward to hearing what you have for us when it comes to Chicago. As far as I know we were talking a lot about that specific, what do you call it, the main event there. But did you get a chance to speak with any of the other fighters, or was there anything else that kind of caught your eye in the evening?
Yeah, so Nate Landwehr was he was a hometown guy. He's from Nashville, from the Nashville area, and I got to talk to him a little bit. He was excited to be home. He's a very intense individual. So his pre-fight was a little bit intense. I got to talk to him a little bit, but it was a lot of profanity. Couldn't really use any of the audio. But yeah, he was. I mean, he was so close to winning his fight. I mean, he had. I forget. I can't think of the guy's name that he fought. Why can't I think of his name now off the top of my head? But he he had him down, and when he had him, he was grounding and pounding, and for whatever reason, I have no clue. Why can't I think of the guy who he fought? Morgan Charriere. As he's pounding, like, you can see his eyes, and he's like, "How do I get out of this? How do I get out of this?" And somehow he survives it. He turns around, he takes it a little bit, and gets back up to his feet, and you could just tell that Nate was gassed. I mean, just absolutely gassed. And Charriere was able to get the finish, but it was such a fun fight to watch. So I asked Charriere after how he survived that, and Charriere said he had no idea.
Wow.
He's like, I knew I was in trouble, and I just kept taking it and found a way to get back to my feet and just started swinging, and he was able to knock Landwehr down and get the finish. So Landwehr was visibly upset afterwards. I think it might be his last fight. I'm not certain. He didn't say that, but 37 years old. I believe he's now lost 4 of his last 6. So I think he's probably on his way out the door, and maybe that's why he was upset, because he was at home. But yeah, man, hats off to him. And tonight's going to be another great event for the UFC. UFC 318 is tonight. Dustin Diamond Poirier, it's going to be his final fight. He's at home in New Orleans, and watching, I've watched his entire career. My wife loves him for different reasons than why I like him.
Nice.
And so it's going to be a fun event tonight. It's a great card if you get a chance to watch it. UFC 318 prelims, I believe, start at 6:00.
Was that your first live UFC event, Brandon? Seeing it in person?
Was.
Okay.
Not my first live MMA event,
Gotcha.
but my first live UFC event.
So I was just going to ask you, is just kind of simple, is there that big of a difference being, obviously you were so up close, is it a difference between a live UFC event as opposed to watching it at home? Because everyone always makes that debate with the 4 major sports too.
Yeah, the atmosphere, the electricity in the crowd, absolutely amazing. I've never heard so many chants of grab his D and twist it in my life.
Oh, wow.
They chanted it twice even during a women's match. So it was
Wow.
Equality.
It is what it is, but it was great. The atmosphere was electric. There was, out of 15 fights, there were 13 finishes.
Oof.
Wow.
It was
That's quick. That's a nice
incredible
day.
card. Yeah, it was an incredible card. The first 3 were knockouts. Derek Lewis was a 35-second knockout. It was incredible. One of the guys that works for the UFC came into the press room after, and when we were interviewing Dana White let us know that he lost $25,000 on a bet for the Derek Lewis and Teixeira fight to go longer than 5 minutes.
So did you pay him back then with yours?
No, I could, because I didn't make that much.
Yeah,
on.
right.
So it was, but yeah, he lost $25,000 on one bet, one of the guys in UFC. So what I wanted to ask Dana, and I didn't get a chance to, was whether or not he would hire me so I could make enough to put $25,000 down on a bet.
There you go.
Wait, Dana White is still betting on the UFC? He can do
No,
that?
not
Oh.
Dana didn't put the bet down.
Oh, my apologies.
The guy, one of the guys who was working it.
Okay, gotcha.
So yeah.
That
Goes to
would've
show that when people think that it's rigged, it's not rigged. 'Cause if the guys working it are losing money on it, it's
Yeah, that would have been some Vince
they have no-
McMahon level of like conspiracy theory right there.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I will
So-
say I was never into, I mean, we'll go out and watch a couple of the fights and stuff like that, but even on the boxing side of things, I was never into boxing. And then our, mutual friend Tony Lopez, took me to a boxing event in Rosemont, and you sit ringside and it is a whole different level. So I can only imagine what that's like for an MMA event like UFC.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, with not only the atmosphere, but to hear these, like, there was the Max Griffin and Chris Curtis fight. Chris Curtis hit Max Griffin with this shot that I felt in the front. Like,
Yikes.
I mean, You know, like you hear these guys hit the entire time, and it's fine. It kind of sounds like it does on TV, just a little bit louder. But the thud when he hit Max Griffin, I was like, oh God, that hurt.
Yeah.
There's something broken there. And it was so you do get that. It's something you never get on TV is like that impact, right?
The
And
flesh on flesh sound. Yeah, that's
you know, like because like when they get guys, my worst when I'm watching the event, I hate when they get the guys in the arm bars because I remember when Frank Muir had a guy in an arm bar and the bone popped through, and so every time they grab somebody's arm, I start to cringe a little bit. And when you're there, man, it's just a different environment. It's a different feeling. Again, for any of you guys here that work for WRMN, if you guys want to go, I highly recommend it. And if you're a fan and you just want to go and watch an event, I highly recommend it. It's a lot different in person.
Wow. Well, yeah, we definitely will be hearing more from UFC, especially when it comes to Chicago. And Brandon, you'll be covering for us on that one as well, because we will be over, most of us will be over checking out Banana Ball with the Savannah Bananas. More info to come on that, but we are approved. So we'll see what that entails for the entire River Media Network sports department. But we will get over into baseball a little bit. Let's actually start with your Northsiders while we have a little bit of time here. Of course, it was a shortened week because of the All-Star game, but PCA still looking good, and a lot of the boys are All-Stars as well. So we'll jump more into the actual All-Star game and Home Run Derby because there's a lot to talk about with that when we return from the break. But while we're here and we got a few minutes, Brandon, your thoughts? We kind of talked about the Cubs last week taking their foot off the gas a little bit going into the All-Star break and now coming back out of the All-Star break just with their first game last night as they're back into a series with the Red Sox here. But are you still just as calm about this Cubs team? Any nerves at all whatsoever?
Yeah, no, still just as calm. I mean, they came out of the All-Star break yesterday and did what they needed to do versus the Red Sox, who are on a 10-game win streak, by the way.
Yes.
And so it was a good game. Seiya Suzuki coming out of the break saying, "Why am I not an All-Star?" Hits a 3-run home run in the first inning on the first pitch. Won me some money there as well, by the way. And so they're still looking good. Pitching looks good. Colin Ray had a phenomenal outing yesterday. I believe he went 7 innings, gave up the 1 run. It was a really well played game. The Cubs are going to make some moves here, man, and they're going to be just fine. The Brewers, I think at some point the Brewers go away a little bit, but they're not going away just yet. I mean, they just beat the Dodgers again.
Yeah, don't count them out just yet.
I mean, they swept the Dodgers before the All-Star break. They're in LA now. They beat the Dodgers 2-0 last night against Tyler Glasnow, nonetheless. So it's not even like it was
all these rookie pitchers for the Brewers are just helping out so much.
Oh man, it's incredible. I don't know where they're finding these guys. They're starting to become like the St. Louis Cardinals to me, who just always find a way to win no matter
Tampa.
Who's in who they let go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
finding anybody and just
smallest
winning.
markets. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm still not worried about the Cubs because I think the Cubs are still going to continue to win. The question is going to be whether or not the Brewers can still continue to win as well. So no, I think the Cubs are going to make some moves here. A couple of things from last night that happened while I was live on the air on another network. Luis Robert getting taken out of the game early while healthy, and a couple of Mets minor leaguers getting taken out of the game while they're healthy, as well as the White Sox prospect down in AAA center fielder got taken out of the game while healthy. So maybe something happening there on the south side. But as far as the
purely coincidental.
Yeah, purely coincidental.
Right. Allegedly.
For Jeff Passan to send out the tweet. So, but yeah, it's the Cubs. I have no concerns, man. They look good. The offense looks good. Pitching looks good. So yeah, still no concerns there. I can't wait to talk about the All-Star game though, because I've got some.
Some major takes. We have a lot of baseball news coming for you today, as we will be speaking with the batting coach of the Windy City Thunderbolts, Kevin Santiago, at 9 o'clock this morning. There will be a ceremony for the late Bobby Jenks, the 2005 World Series champion closer for the Chicago White Sox, and overall just a phenomenal human being. He was also coaching in Windy City, so we'll get a firsthand recount of his time there and a little bit more information on what is going on at Ozinga Field tonight at 9. But before we get there, of course, we are going to talk All-Star Game and this whole week's festivities really in the baseball world. As we were talking about how the Cubs last week, we were mentioning that they got swept by the Yankees going into the All-Star break back in 2016. This time they lose that first game 11-0, and Cubs fans were kind of reminiscing of 2016, but instead the Cubs take 2 out of 3 with a 5-2 win and a 4-1 win against New York going into the break. And as Brandon mentioned, they snapped Boston's 10-game win streak with a 4-1 victory last night. So this Cubs team has been beating up the AL East, which is always a good thing. But talk about the NL West. You were kind of alluding to the fact that the Brewers were taking it to the Dodgers. The Cubs have also beaten the Dodgers too. So yeah. I don't know, when is it do we start to question the defending champs' ability to stay at the top there? I mean, are we seeing them falter a little bit? When it comes to crunch time, are they going to turn it on? That's always been my thought. It's like, all right, they're kind of coasting. They know what they're doing. They're going to get to the playoffs and they're going to turn it on. They're going to beat these Cubs teams or these Brewers teams or something like that. But if they're not getting it done in the regular season,
all I can think of right now is Brandon's intro. Are you out of your mind, sir? That's really all I'm hearing.
I'm playing devil's advocate right now.
He's not. They need help. And they're going to need help at the trade deadline as well. I would expect them to be very active as well, which is crazy to say with this roster that they.
I was going to say
they're 18 games
saying they need help.
The Dodgers,
is
the Cubs, and the Yankees are going to be the most active.
Yeah,
I also have a futures ticket because I said it before the season starts that the Dodgers will not win the National League. I didn't think they were deep enough. They put together a good front line roster. But if they had to deal with injuries, they were going to be in trouble, and they're dealing with injuries. And if Shohei goes down, this team is done. And so that's why for me, I wouldn't have brought him back as a starting pitcher. If anything, I would have had him be a closer because you need that bat in the lineup, and you can't risk him getting hurt again with that elbow. I think there are teams that are more complete. I think that there are teams that are deeper than the Dodgers. And I said that at the beginning of the season. I have a ticket at plus 450 for them to not make the World Series. And I haven't been on them all year. I said at the beginning of the year they would not do it. I said they'll win the West, but they might lose in the first round because there are teams in baseball, especially in the National League, because I think the National League is so deep, that are better than them. And so we'll see what they do at the deadline, but they're going to need help.
All right. Well, we're going to talk more baseball right here after the break. You're listening to AM 1410 WRMN's On the Rise.
Political party poopers got you down? Shake it off and join me, Dennis Sonar Green, every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m. on WRMN for A Political Talk Show, where we cut through the doom and gloom with a focus on America first, constitutional values, and a populist perspective that puts you, the citizen, at the center of the conversation. At WRMN, the talk of the town, we're not afraid to challenge the status quo and bring you the straight talk you need. Whether you're frustrated with the political establishment or looking for a clear, some nonsense analysis, this show has you covered. Tune in. Let's take on the issues together with a fresh, unfiltered approach. Catch us every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m. on WRMN, a political talk show. WRMN, the talk of the town.
At Britain's Touchless Car Wash, they know life gets busy. That's why they're here 24/7 to keep your car looking spotless, fast, and easy. Their advanced brush-free wash technology delivers a sparkling clean without a single scratch, because they treat your car like it's their own. Here's the best part. Right now, you can get a free car wash just for joining their text club. It's simple. Just text BRITT to 30400, and your first wash is on them. Britain's Touchless Car Wash has 2 convenient locations, 1923 Larkin Avenue in Elgin and 555 Willow in West Dundee. They're proud to keep your car clean while giving back to our community. Text BRITT to 30400. That's BRITT to 30400. Now for your free car wash, and see why Britain's Touchless Car Wash is the fast, gentle, and reliable choice.
Your kids could get free or low-cost health coverage from Medicaid or CHIP. Even if you've applied before, they may be eligible now. Kids up to age 19 are covered for checkups, vaccines, dentist visits, hospital care, and more. And if they already have Medicaid or CHIP, remember to renew every year. Visit insurekidsnow.gov or call 877-KIDS-NOW. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
In the middle of the night, everything will be all right if you listen to Coast, right here on WRMN 7 days a week from midnight to 5 a.m. Each night on Coast to Coast, listeners are captivated by George Newry with discussions on news and current events, conspiracy theories, UFOs, life after death, and all things curious and unexplained. Whether you're working third shift or you're just a night owl, catch the most listened to overnight talk radio program in North America, Coast to Coast, every night, midnight to 5 a.m. right here on WRMN AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
Do you own an annuity, either fixed rate, indexed, or variable? Are you paying high fees and getting low returns? If so, Annuity General would like you to have this free book to learn the pitfalls and mistakes of buying an annuity. The Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers contains the little-known truths about annuities, like how to help reduce your fees and increase retirement income. And it's free. That's right, free. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report just for calling. We researched over 1,000 annuities and summarized rates and benefits from financially strong insurers. You get Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers and the Annuity Rate Report, both absolutely free for calling Annuity General today. Hurry, supplies are limited. Call now.
800-760-1845. 800-760-1845. 800-760-1845. That's 800-760-1845.
Through you. Schwarber in the air to center field, headed towards the wall, and dead center. That's huge for the National League. They're within one. So there you go. He said if he could get it on his first swing, and he did. Schwarber's in the All-Star game. Oh, tied at 3.
That's MVP material if he gets the third one right here. This guy, if he stopped playing, he'll be a softball superstar.
Pretty darn good baseball superstar. AL rallied in the game. NL has rallied in the swing. With the hat trick. Look out, Chop House. National League takes the lead 4-3.
Unbelievable.
That was courtesy of Fox. That was the home run. Well, actually, that was the swing off of the extra innings of the All-Star game that they decided. But you were listening to AM 1410 WRMN's On the Rise. Myself, Mike Napolitano, Nick Johnson playing our clips on the board for us. We've got Brandon Combs zooming in and Dalton Cooper to my left. Gentlemen, we had quite the week with the All-Star game, and I saw a clip from our very own Blake Cowell of The Truth About Chicago Sports, and he was saying, you know, amidst all this talk about all these all-star games that there's low viewership and nobody's tuning in and blah, blah, blah. As the resident hockey guy alongside Dalton here, I will say the Four Nations face-off is an exception that was left out of that statement. However, the MLB All-Star Game, it still is everything and more for baseball fans, I think. Everything that they promise, especially when you kick it off with the Home Run Derby, and we'll get into that, but we heard that clip from Kyle Schwarber, which many, including myself right there, almost misquoted as being part of the Home Run Derby, because never before have we seen a swing-off to decide the All-Star Game. And Kyle Schwarber, former Cub, goes 3 for 3 to secure the win for the National League. Brandon, I know it hurts a little bit seeing a former Cub go up there and have some success, right? But what were your thoughts on the MLB's decision to go to this route, to go to a swing-off?
You had to throw that in there, didn't you?
I had to.
This is why I can't wait for next week to go to the Crosstown Classic.
Oh, no.
I figured out what my angle is going to be. And I'm going to go to Cubs fans and Sox fans alike, and I'm going to get some sound as to why they dislike the other side so much, because I think it's stupid. So we're going to find that out. But look, the All-Star Game was fantastic. I don't think the Four Nations, I don't think, is considered an All-Star Game.
It's not.
Yeah, it was in place of what would have been the All-Star Game.
Exhibition.
So it's a different. It's a whole tournament setup. So it's
and there's guys on their rosters that wouldn't be All-Stars per se. So it was the Four Nations tournament was amazing, by the way. But the All-Star Game and the Home Run Derby, I mean, they did a fantastic job. I don't like the format of the Home Run Derby anymore. I will say that. I still enjoyed it. I just don't like the format that they have now. I wish they would just go back to, you get a certain amount of outs and all this other stuff. But
do you not like the head-to-head?
I don't mind the head-to-head. I just wish instead of timed.
You don't feel like the amount of pitches, like they only had 40 pitches, so I feel like that's kind of more or less the same thing.
Yeah, even if you just gave them, I don't even care about the amount of pitches. Even if you just gave, I think it used to be 10 outs.
Yeah, it used to be 10 outs.
Yeah, it would take 6 hours.
Yeah, that was the difference.
But I don't care about that. But I also don't like, watching my All-Stars. I'm glad Pico Armstrong didn't do it. I don't like watching my All-Stars have to swing 100 times in
tell Jazz Chisholm to just swing once and we can be fine.
Gosh,
Jazz Chisholm
what was going on?
The Japanese bunt off.
I think so. I don't know if it was for real, but I heard that he actually hit into 12 double plays during the Home Run Derby. I think I could be wrong.
Do they still have that out in the Japanese leagues? Is the bunt offs?
They do.
I did see the clip of that. Was that last year? It went viral.
Yeah,
it's exciting.
Derby. I'm a sicko. I would actually watch it.
Yeah.
As a man who had the game-winning suicide squeeze bunt in the second game of a doubleheader to earn the name Clutchatano, I'm all for bunting. Play some small ball. Teach these kids, these young, kiddos in the league today how to bunt.
Is that in the 8th grade, by the way?
That was freshman year of high school.
I was happy to watch Schwarber do it, though. I mean, watching Schwarber hit bombs, it's not his fault that he's not a Cub anymore. That's on Jed and Theo and the way that they treated that 2016 team and didn't build around it and didn't spend the money wisely around it. So I don't blame Schwarber at all. I loved watching him hit those 3 home runs. I kind of, when he came up, I was confident the National League was going to win the All-Star Game. And but look, 2 things that I took away from the All-Star Game. One, and we're gonna, once we talk with the Windy City Thunderbolts later, I forget the
Kevin Santiago.
Name. Yeah, when we have him on, I'm gonna ask him about this as well. But 2 things that I want Major League Baseball to implement immediately, and they should have implemented the challenge system or at least automated strike zones 15 to 20 years ago. It's so overdue that it's not even funny. And the second thing is, I no longer want extra innings. I want to swing off.
No.
I absolutely 110%. What in the regular season?
You want a game to be decided whether or not Lenine Sosa puts one over the fence?
In the regular season, why would
ridiculous.
You choose Lenine Sosa?
I'm just saying. It's just throwing any name out there.
But
he's been hitting. I don't want to hear it.
Choice. I mean, you get to put together your lineup. The NHL does it with the shootout. Soccer does it with the shootout.
I'm with Nick Castellanos on this one. The closer you do this, the closer you're going to get to banana ball. It's absolutely ridiculous.
How about if you
I
did
don't
it
know
after
about
10
that.
or 11 innings? Because in the long run, in a 162 game season, it's about conserving your bullpen. It's about making sure that guys are staying healthy throughout the course of the year. Would you rather, if you're, let's say the Cubs in a playoff race, and God forbid this happens, but say you're in the 12th inning of a game in September, and PCA is trying to beat out a infield single, and he tears a hamstring, and he's done for the year, and you're losing him for the playoffs.
Injuries happen all the time.
Yeah,
Or-
I would be on that side of things.
Or in the 10th inning, after the 10th inning, let's say you give him one extra inning, you're having a swing off with a lineup of 3 guys that you pick to go up there and take 3 hacks. Dude, I mean, look, I would go to a game hoping for a tie.
I would say
No.
I would say to implement this idea, I think for traditionalist baseball fans and for new age baseball fans, I think there can be some agreement that is come to if they were to exercise implementing this, to where you get maybe like 6 extra innings. So maybe after 15 innings, if the score is still undecided, then maybe you can go to a swing off like this. Because you look at the NHL and you look at any kind of soccer where they do go to penalties, both are led by an overtime or an extra time frame.
Yeah,
so
but ever since they added,
they completely altered the game in the NHL.
Well, 3-on-3 is newer for the NHL, and that's a whole different story of when
ever since they added
went from
this
5-on-5
runner on second, these games don't go past the 12th. Like what extra inning game goes past the 11th to the 12th? That doesn't happen anymore.
I understand.
I feel like you're burying
that's why I said implement it after the 11th, because
no, that's just so cartoony and ridiculous. I gotta stop you there. There's no argument that's gonna save that. Yeah, it's so cartoony.
Just imagine the off-season negotiation between Scott Boras and whatever team for, hey, this guy's going to hit you so many extra inning home runs. Like, I just think that'd be interesting for the business side of things,
And
too.
exactly what the guy was saying. As soon as Schwarber retires, he's going to be a great softball player. So what? We're going to get David Ortiz back in lineups now just because he can hit a home or a BP home run still? Like,
Barry
this is
Bonds
ridiculous.
could come back and be eligible
Sure he
for the
could,
Hall of
yeah.
Fame again.
You and your Barry Bonds. Listen here, man. Oh my goodness. No, I mean, look.
There's so many extra factors that you couldn't, like, you can't make it equal. Like the BP pitcher for one team would have to be the same for the other, or just like there's so many different factors we're not even thinking about to just automatically say like this is the solution. It's gonna make the game better. Like no, the swing off is so.
Make the game better. Hold on. I didn't say it would make the game better. I just said I want it.
Okay.
It was so much fun to watch. Look, I get that it's a far out idea, and I'm a traditionalist. I love the game of baseball. There's nobody. I'm a sicko. I told you I would watch the bunt derby. Like I would sit down for 2 hours and watch the bunt derby, and I would be happy watching it. Like I love this game to my core. It was my first love. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. And my wife will tell you the same thing. I love baseball more than I love my wife and kids. It's a different type of love, but I love this game to my core, and I think that this would. I don't think it would be. I'm not saying it would be better for the game, and I'm not saying that players would love it, and I'm not saying fans would love it. I'm saying I would love it.
I mean, in a week where the integrity of the game was already called into question with Jacob Mizorowski getting called up for the All-Star game, like why would you even consider such a thing like this? Where again, end an exhibition game like that, perfectly okay with that. That cannot determine a regular season game that then would in turn determine whether or not I get into the playoffs or not. That's just not gonna. There's no argument that's gonna be convincing for me in that way.
Man, why are you worried about the playoffs?
Doesn't matter. Does not matter.
So does that mean you're saying that you're upset because Miz was in the All-Star game?
No,
I think
I'm actually fine with the Mizorowski in there. I was just saying overall, like everyone was already complaining, like, oh, he's already got 5 starts. Like the integrity of the game, the All-Star game, just in general, was called into question this week. So why would we also highlight, like, yeah, let's go and make this another?
How can you be so dead set against this, but be okay with a guy with 5 games under his belt getting into the?
Because it's about showcasing the best of the best. We want a guy that throws 103, not some guy that's just, oh wow, he's had one good year. Let's throw him into the All-Star game. I don't know, like
that's not what the All-Star game is, though, and that's the
what?
The problem with the All-Star game.
You don't want to be entertained. You want to just watch a good.
It's supposed to be about the guys who have have earned it. The guys who are the all-stars, the guys who have had the best seasons. That's what the All-Star game was about. That's what the All-Star game should be about. That's what they've gotten away from.
And you know what? Even in
the
5 starts,
All-Star
he's
game,
done
and that's
that.
the problem. Same thing with having one player from every team. There's no reason why a Colorado Rocky or a Chicago White Sox player should have been taking up a roster spot because they didn't deserve to get the All-Star game. And it's the same thing with Jacob Mizorowski. Look, fantastic play. I think he's going to be great. I think he's Paul Skeens like. I understand all of that. But he only had 5 games under his belt, and to take that roster spot away from guys who
that already said no.
ERAs under 2.
But there was like 12 pitchers that said no. Zach Wheeler was one of them.
Yeah,
all these Phillies were complaining, and he's the one that's like, no, thank you, I'm good. So I don't get it. Like, why? What's the problem with this guy for saying yes?
Because there are other pitchers that could have had the. How about
Ranger Suarez?
Ranger Suarez.
Did he get asked? He probably said no.
Well, see, that I don't know. But what I'm saying is there are other roster spots. How the hell does Trey Turner not have a roster spot, but Jacob Mizorowski does?
They needed to get X amount of infielders. There's a certain amount of roster spots you have to admit. So, again, with Zach Wheeler, a Philly, dropping out, they needed to make up for another pitcher, so they needed to ask him. So there you go. They need 14 pitchers.
The only problem I really have with it is that guys get bonuses or get extra money from making All-Star games. So, like, to take that away, quote unquote, for a guy that's been there. I mean, that was like the only, other than like him not being like deserving to be there, I think is in question. But
I don't know.
To take money out of somebody else's pocket, I feel like would
definitely
be
is deserving to be there.
Did you see the list of names? I haven't seen I didn't even know people were saying no. Where did you see this at?
Saying no for what?
From Mizorowski.
For the All-Star game, is there a list of pitchers that actually said no?
Well, I don't know if there's an exact list. Like, there's a couple lists that we're looking for, but there's not that list, no. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like, this is the first, when you just said that there were 12 pitchers that said no, I didn't know that. I haven't seen any. I'm looking for, like, is there an article or something?
No, there's not an exact list. No, I just kind of throw out a number type deal. But like I said, you just go through the line. Probably a bunch of these guys already said no, declined. You knew that there was report already of people already dropping out. So again, I see no fault with him getting in there. That doesn't take away anything from the game. It doesn't take away an opportunity from somebody else. Because what he threw in there through gas. Again, something I want to see. I want to see Mizorowski versus Aaron Judge. I want to see Mizorowski versus Cal Raleigh. I want to see the big names and the big stars that I'm going to see later on for the next 10 years in this game. That's kind of what that should be the point of the All-Star game.
Yeah, I see your Trey Turner argument, but at the same time, I'm seeing what Nick's saying is like that's an infielder, or I guess you could even throw him as an outfielder position because he's been used as both in the past. But you have only so many. You have pitching spots that you got to fill, and if these other pitchers did in fact say no, then you go down the line. I'm not sure why it came down the line and got thrown to a guy who only has 5 MLB games under his belt at the time. But I mean, because like at that point, are you still kind of gonna in that gray area throw him in as like a young stars
puts
game?
Butts in seats. That's why.
But I mean, well, yeah, true. But like, there's a small sample size, and I don't know if it's a big enough sample size to determine whether or not he is a legitimate all-star yet.
Again, if anything, we should really go all the way back and stop these fans from voting because there was no reason to have all those Detroit Tigers in there and then to go 0-8 and have Tariq Skubal just fall, just crumble in front of Livy Dunn. Like, there's no reason for all those Tigers to be there.
There were 2 pitchers in the National League that did decline. They're both Phillies pitchers. Zach Wheeler.
Who won the pony?
Zach Wheeler and Ranger Suarez
we hit both
declined. Zach Wheeler declined, preferring to rest and focus on the second half of the season. And then Ranger Suarez
I told you so?
reportedly turned down an invitation because he didn't want to commit to pitching and preferred rest. So.
Well, no, you can't say I told you so because what were some of the other players, the other pitchers out there that didn't go? Were they also guys that said no? That's what I need to know because when you go down the list and you're looking at guys like I'm trying to think of guys who weren't there, like Spencer Schwallenbach. Are you looking at guys like I'm trying to think of.
The AL had 4 people, 3 pitchers and Jose Ramirez. You had Max Fried, Jacob deGrom, Garrett Crochet, and then like I just said, Jose Ramirez. Those 4 in the American League declined to play.
Yeah,
like
it's weird to me that it's that short of a list, and then they get to Mizorowski.
That's what I'm saying. There's got to be. You have to go down the list, and if you're telling me that every pitcher in the National League that was eligible and should have been an all-star before Jacob Mizorowski said no, then sure. But you'd have to go down a list, and for a guy with only 5 games under his belt, that's got to be a pretty long list.
Well, there is a rule too. I think
you can't. Said no.
You can't pitch you can't pick a guy that is slated to pitch on the Friday before the All-Star game or the Saturday before the All-Star or something like that. So I think that did deter, or I guess kind of eliminate some of the guys that you may have thought about or mentioned as well.
I think that was a lot of the reasoning as to why White Sox pitcher Shane Smith got pulled from the Friday afternoon game leading up to the All-Star game. That was supposed to be a Thursday start against the Cleveland Guardians. However, that game got rained out. So instead of yours truly heading down to Wright Field early for dugout access, instead I was there just in time for the doubleheader. Last weekend, I was there for all 4 games. A couple weekends ago when we talked about that San Francisco Giants and White Sox series, that was the first time I had ever been to an entire series. And then this time would be the second time, but I wasn't expecting to go to all 4 games until that rainout happened Thursday. It was the 2005 20th year anniversary weekend. So I did want to just make mention of that. I'm wearing or displaying the majority of what we were given that weekend. In fact, we even got captain's hats. Let me throw this on at some point here today. But we got of course, the ALCS, the 4 pitchers that threw complete games: Mark Burley, John Garland, Freddie Garcia, and Jose Contreras, all on one bobblehead. That was the Sunday giveaway. I'm wearing the Friday 2005 style Hawaiian shirt, which was very nice. And then, of course, the Mark Burley statue was unveiled on Friday. I got an up-close look. You can check out some of that on our socials. I don't actually know if I gave you that stuff yet, but I'll send that over. We were right behind Jerry Reinsdorf, Ozzie Guillen, and Harold Baines. And right next to Harold Baines' statue for the unveiling of the Mark Burley statue out in right field. Mark Burley's entire family was there, and the entire 2005 team, minus Bobby Jenks, was, of course, in attendance. Rest in peace, Bobby Jenks. And
was Frank Thomas there?
You know what? Actually, no.
Okay, I heard he was in Cincinnati signing autographs. So.
Yeah, that's a little odd, but okay, yeah. There was no Frank. Now that you say it, come to think of it, there was no Frank there, but also Hawk Harrelson had a seat, and I don't think he made it in Friday night. I did see him out on the field during some of the celebrations on Saturday.
Now, with the Burley statue, do you like how it looks, or did you want to have him
I was saying, I was like, I kind
of
wanted that, but I'm okay with it being more athletic and more of him throwing.
I mean, it fits the rest of the statues that are at guaranteed rate, so I think they're all like in-game motions type deals. So yeah, I'm okay with that. I like how it turned out. It looked really nice.
You'll also see on our socials, I think that was posted as well. I did a little presser a little bump right before the unveiling.
Yeah, big party time. Yeah?
No, not like that. Come on, we're not even at 9 a.m. here. But just before the statue got unveiled, and it was I was trying to decide. I'm looking at how that's bagged, because it was bagged before the ceremony or had this tarp over it. And I was just like, what is underneath there? Because I couldn't tell that this was the arm poking out. I thought this might have been his head. And I was like, I can't wait to see this get unveiled. So a great weekend, but I don't want to deter it. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to Kevin Santiago and the Windy City Thunderbolts. However, I did get a chance to speak to one of my longtime idols, the first baseman and stoic captain of that 2005 White Sox team, and for many years, the one and only Paul Konerko. You talked about being in a different world now, but a weekend like this, does this bring you back and make you want to kind of be a part of Major League Baseball in any kind of capacity again?
No, I mean, it doesn't. I mean, I respect what these, you go in this locker room and these coaches, manager, and people around the team. Gelly's here, get some of the guys that are kind of currently in the minor league side of it. I have way too much respect in what these guys do, and I'm too, I've looked at that and you think about what these guys have to do, and I would never disrespect the game. I'd have to be ready. Do I think about it? Yeah, but I don't get too far in those thoughts, because I know that the responsibility and the job that it is and what's entailed and what's asked of you. And it kind of just stops it in its tracks, because unless you're willing to pay that price and really have a passion for it, I said when I retired, I'm like, you're probably not going to see me, but if you see me, it's going to be that I know, I'm going to be obsessed about whatever it is I'm doing, whatever coach. But it has to be that, because it takes that. These coaches have a tougher gig than the players. They're here earlier, they're here later, they're on the same schedule. Never say never, but I understand what it goes into it. And now more than ever, these coaches have it harder now than they ever did with all the stuff that they're given and have to get across to these guys. So I keep my finger on the pulse a little bit with that. I just know that I don't have the appetite for that, and I wouldn't disrespect the game to try to come and steal a job from somebody that wants to do that. And I wouldn't do that. But so if you see me, you'll know I'm as much into that as I was playing on the field, but I'm not there yet.
Probably not the answer a lot of White Sox fans wanted to hear, because I'm sure they would love a brilliant baseball mind and athlete like Paul Konerko to be back with the organization in some fashion. To be clear, when I posed that question, I didn't necessarily mean coaching. He could come back as a broadcaster. He has the cadence for it, but he was thinking mostly along the lines of coaching. So if there is any small grain of sand that White Sox fans could be happy about in there, it's that he took that question in that direction, so obviously that would be the direction that's on his mind. So we'll see. I am doubtful it happens, but his son is draft eligible in 2027. So could we see another Konerko donning the black and white on the South Side within a number of years? That's to be determined. We shall see.
I hope so. That'd be great. If anything, at the very least, make him a hitting coach or something like that. Get him in the cage with the boys.
Honestly.
Be good.
Honestly, yeah. So going back into the All-Star talk just for a little bit, because there wasn't much else other than the 2005 festivities. And like I said, we'll talk a little bit more about that on the Bobby Jenks side of things with Kevin Santiago. But going back into that weekend, the White Sox lost 3 of 4 to the Cleveland Guardians. So not a whole lot to write home about when it came to the on-the-field performances. So we get to the All-Star break, and I think it was pretty much set in stone by everybody that Cal Raleigh, who was setting records before the All-Star break, was probably going to win the Home Run Derby, and he did just that exactly. I didn't know that his nickname was Big Dumper.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Big old caboose, yeah.
I did not know that. Well, I didn't know his nickname. I just knew that he was absolutely raking, because that man was the final total before the All-Star game, was that 38 home runs?
Yep.
Before the All-Star game?
Yep.
You live under Patrick Starr's rock?
No, I didn't know that was his nickname. I just always know him as Cal Raleigh. So, no, I guess.
Mr. Raleigh to you, sir.
It's Mr. Raleigh now. But 38 bombs before the All-Star break, surpassing Barry Bonds' record, Mr. Brandon Combs' very own Barry Bonds, for most home runs in the first half of a season leading up to an All-Star game. We'll see if Raleigh can continue that with the Seattle Mariners going forward here. And
they're red hot. They've won 19 out of the last 30. So.
Yeah, beware in the AL West of Seattle, that's for sure. So we've got more baseball talk coming up for you at 9. We will have, as I mentioned, Windy City Thunderbolts batting coach Kevin Santiago joining us to talk about the Bobby Jenks ceremony that will be happening at Ozinga Field tonight. And then stick around for 9:30. We should be talking to Brian Teague. He will be covering the Sky and also the WNBA All-Star game that is coming up. And then stick around for the 10 o'clock hour. It's the truth about Chicago sports. All of that right here, right after On the Rise. You're listening to AM 1410 WRMN.
At Britain's Touchless Car Wash, they know life gets busy. That's why they're here 24/7 to keep your car looking spotless, fast, and easy. Their advanced brush-free wash technology delivers a sparkling clean without a single scratch, because they treat your car like it's their own. Here's the best part. Right now, you can get a free car wash just for joining their text club. It's simple. Just text BRITT to 30400, and your first wash is on them. Britain's Touchless Car Wash has 2 convenient locations, 1923 Larkin Avenue in Elgin and 555 Willow in West Dundee. They're proud to keep your car clean while giving back to our community. Text BRITT to 30400. That's BRITT to 30400. Now for your free car wash, and see why Britain's Touchless Car Wash is the fast, gentle, and reliable choice.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 9 o'clock.
Breaking news this hour at townhall.com. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. The House early Friday narrowly cleared a package to cancel $9 billion in federal spending. The first time in decades lawmakers have agreed to a White House request to claw back funding.
The action marks a significant victory for the Trump administration and paves the way for future spending cancellations to be sent to Congress. The vote would effectively cancel $7.9 billion in foreign aid funding and $1.1 billion in taxpayer support for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which provides grants to NPR and PBS. Bernie Bennett, Washington.
The House has passed 3 bills, all related to advancing the digital dominance of the U.S. dollar. House Administration Committee Chairman Brian Stiles says delivering the 3 cryptocurrency bills from the House to the President's desk was a major accomplishment.
An incredibly exciting day, in many ways worth the wait over the number of years that led up to this moment.
One of the 3 bills, the Genius Act, marks a major milestone for the once outcast crypto industry, the latest in its stunning reversal under President Trump. Former House Speaker Newt Gingrich believes Republicans will head into the 2026 midterm elections coming off something he calls the Trump boom as new policies start to enact major changes.
Growing an American economy and protecting American interests. I think in that case, we could pick up seats in the House and the Senate on a scale nobody today could imagine.
Gingrich, interviewed by the Salem Radio Network. The head of NVIDIA downplayed his role in getting the U.S. government to lift a ban on selling advanced computer chips to China. Speaking to reporters in Beijing, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang.
Every country has their national security policies and trade policies, and these belong to the countries.
In April, the U.S. government informed NVIDIA it would require a license to export the H20 chips to China, effectively blocking their sale. More from townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind, to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my 2 sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-226-5454. That's 800-226-5454. 800-226-5454.
Correspondent Hiwa Pajawi reports on layoffs in the nation's environmental agency.
The Environmental Protection Agency says it'll lose 3,700 employees. The agency's Office of Research and Development has long provided scientific guidance for EPA's mission to protect the environment and human health. The EPA said in May that it would shift its scientific expertise and research efforts to program offices that focus on major issues like air and water. Officials say the EPA is creating a new Office of Applied Science and Environmental Solutions that'll allow the agency to focus on research and science more than ever before. Haya Panjwani, Washington.
A plane bound for Detroit Metro Airport had to be diverted last night after a passenger tried to open an exit door mid-flight. The plane eventually landed at Detroit Metro Airport. That happened about 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It was 3 hours behind schedule at the time. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. The markets wrapped up a winning week on Friday.
Wall Street closed its 3rd winning week in the last 4 with a quiet finish. The S&P 500 edged down by a whisper on Friday, less than 0.1%. The index set its latest all-time high a day earlier. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 142 points. It's about 0.3%. The Nasdaq Composite edged up by less than 0.1%, adding a bit to its own record. Charles Schwab, Regions Financial, and other stocks rallied after reporting results for the spring that were better than expected. Netflix gave back some of its huge gains for the year after releasing its quarterly report. Treasury yields eased in the bond market. Seth Sutel, New York.
7 people remain in critical condition after a vehicle rammed into a crowd of people. They were standing in line hoping to enter a nightclub last night. It happened along a busy boulevard in Los Angeles. In all, some 30 people were injured. The event is under investigation. You'll find more on these stories at townhall.com.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-433-3082. 800-433-3082. 800-433-3082. That's 800-433-3082.
Welcome back to AM 1410 WRMN. You're listening to On the Rise here on Saturday morning sports from River Media Network Sports. And we are now about to be joined by a very special guest with a very important message. Kevin Santiago, the Windy City Thunderbolts batting coach, who will be talking a little bit about the festivities that will be going on tonight at Ozinga Field in honor of the late White Sox closer, 2005 champion, and all-star Bobby Jenks, who was coaching for the Windy City Thunderbolts. Unfortunately, Bobby lost his fight with cancer just a few weeks ago, so of course we want to honor him. He did get honored last weekend quite a bit at the 2005 20th year reunion for the White Sox, and of course, he was in all of our hearts and thoughts, and the entire team and extended family and friends, but we're going to get a chance to hear from his post-White Sox career that happened with the Windy City Thunderbolts. So, Kevin, welcome in. Thank you for joining us today, and lovely to hear from you.
Yeah, good morning, boys. I don't know about special guests, but just a guest nonetheless here.
No, special indeed. You've got a lot of information for us that we were, of course, looking to get out to the public so that people are aware of what's going on. I wanted to let you take the time to express, of course, how Bobby Jenks impacted you and the team, the organization, the game of baseball, and what this special night means for Bobby, as well as his friends and family and anybody that was impacted by his presence.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the time, man. And anytime I get a chance to talk about Bobby, I gotta take that time to do that. He was one of a kind, and, like me and Toby always talk about it, he was a beauty. But, yeah, tonight at Windy City, I mean, we have a Hall of Fame induction. I think we got, like, a promotion going on with, like, Superhero Night, something like that. But it's also Beat Cancer Night, right, which was scheduled a long time ago, early in the season and stuff. But, we team up with Gold Glove Charities. They bring out a bunch of kids that are battling cancer right now, and like we don't even take batting practice today. Like all the players are out there with all the kids and stuff, and they're running around, and we're playing games with them and stuff. And and it was one of Bobby's favorite promotions last year. And last year was actually the first year that we had a chance to do it. And I think it's like the fifth inning. We have somebody that. One of the kids comes out that beat cancer, and both teams come out and they line up down the lines, and the kid takes a victory lap around the bases and high-fiving everybody on both teams. And it's really special. And sorry, I'm getting a little emotional, but yeah, it was one of Bobby's favorite promotions for sure. He enjoyed being around the kids. He would do anything for the kids that, ask for autographs and things like that. And, he was special on the south side of Chicago. Obviously he's on record for saying it was like his home here in Chicago. He loved being at Windy City on the south side, the fan base, and taking time to sign autographs and stuff. But the funny thing, and like I said, me and Toby talk about it a lot. He was a beauty. And I told Bobby this in the dugout. I said, hey, man, every time I hear, hey, Bobby, I'm like, I have to look at you and how your reaction is going to be, because if it's a Sox fan, you're all in, like you're going to sign the autographs and stuff. But if it's a Cubs fan, he gave him a hard time. Like, to the very end of it. Like, they had to struggle to get that autograph from him. And there was a time where he sent, four, probably 25, 30-year-olds, they were asking if they all had Cubs stuff on. So he goes, go to the Windy City team shop and buy some Windy City stuff, and I'll sign it. So they all came back with Windy City stuff, and he ended up signing it for them and stuff. But and just the impact on the game of baseball. I mean, you could watch the videos. He was an ultra competitor, man, and that's kind of the imprint he left with me. He pulled it back out of me. I was the same way. Just the way he went about business. He knew, he was very decisive, knew this is like what he was going to do and in any given moment and stuff. But when we got the news, and this is a shout out to Brockton Rocks, they came in, they gave us all the time we need. And, me and Toby were kind of a mess that day. And, it's an hour before game time when we got the news, or 2 hours or something. And they said, we can cancel the game. We can push start time back, whatever you guys need to do, just let us know. And Toby's like, no, Bobby would want us to play on time. And they had put up a tribute, like maybe a minute video on the board before the national anthem. And, guys were emotional and stuff and things like that. But I was just out in Albany, New York for the All-Star game. And, one of their front office staff members came up that was obviously in communication with us when all this went down. And he came up and talking to our front office, and he's just like, man, I don't know what it is. He's like, I didn't even know Bobby on a personal level. He's like, but I just cannot get over this. And that was just, that's the message from everybody. It's just, when we see these videos at the All-Star game, like these tributes in Brockton, and we're going to do another one here. Joliet did one last night. Like it just hits you, man. And it's hard to hold the emotions in. And, guys, everybody had tears. Everybody always has tears in it when we talk about Bobby and stuff. So
that was really just the emotions last weekend at the White Sox games, because like I said, the entire 2005 team was there and everybody was feeling it. And Toby even says it, in his clip. But we did get a chance to speak to Toby, that he feels like he was a part of that 2005 team because of the camaraderie there leading into 2008 and with Bobby still being there. So we did have audio from Toby from last week at Rate Field. Toby, you and I got a chance to speak at the start of the Frontier League season, and I know there's a locker dedicated to him, and we spoke with Commissioner Tassa, and there's going to be a night dedicated to him next weekend.
Yeah.
What can the baseball world expect from his Windy City family?
Our first game back, yeah. I mean, we're going to have, and that was the biggest thing is, you got a week and a half after after he passed, to bring it back up again. I go, no, I want to bring it up as much as we can, because I want his name to just continue to thrive in the baseball world. I want his name to just be known for not just that. That's why I try to tell everybody, it's not just an 05 champ. Like, the dude is, I don't tear up over a lot of people. This guy was an amazing human being.
As you could see, very emotional all around, and rightfully so. And I think you hit the nail on the head, Kevin, when you said that, even for people who hadn't met Bobby Jenks, like myself, just being a White Sox fan, just being a baseball fan, like this hit everybody pretty hard. And really it's emotional. So I'm glad to see that all these other teams, the Cubs, the Rockies, you were out in Boston with Broxton, everybody got a chance to pay tribute to Bobby, and then all of course, his, main teams coming home, the White Sox and the Windy City Thunderbolts, will get a chance to honor him. We want to talk a little bit more about the lighter side of baseball, and I know some of the gentlemen here have some questions, especially regarding the minor leagues. So I'll pass it over to them, and we'll bring the mood up just a little bit, of course, here.
Yeah, Coach, thanks for taking your time with us this morning. Obviously, you are the hitting coach for the Thunderbolts, and obviously the big topic of conversation this year in the majors in hitting was the torpedo bats. So just wanted to maybe grab your thoughts and opinions on that, and just if it's made its way to the minor leagues, if you've noticed maybe a difference if it is in the minor leagues, and just kind of your, like I said, your general thoughts and observations of it.
Yeah, so I'm very old school, and the fact that if you need to move the barrel, obviously you're not a very good hitter, you know. So, but no, I mean, with all the new tech and things like that, it makes sense that they can pinpoint where you're making most of the contact on the barrel and stuff, and you know, there's no rule against it, so it makes sense to do that for some guys. I know our guys early in the season when all this broke. We were in contact with Homewood Bats. We have Todd over there is a good friend of mine, and he sent a couple over for us to try out. And, you know, he came out a couple times during batting practice and let the guys try them out and stuff. And there's a few guys that use them, especially around the league. But I mean, overall, I don't think it kind of stuck the way that I thought it would. And, you know, I would assume that guys are getting away from it. I don't really dive into too much on what guys are using and things like that, just because we don't have the tech to see where guys are finding the barrel, or where they're not. And yeah, so I mean, again, it's within the rules. I'm okay with it, but again, I'm one of the old school guys. It's you know, if you can't get the barrel, if I have the barrel find the ball, like, you're not a very good hitter. So.
Yeah, Coach Brandon Combs here. Thank you for joining the show. We appreciate you. Look, MLB just had the All-Star game, and they had some really fascinating things that happened during the All-Star game, and two of which I feel should be implemented right away. And I love the game of baseball. Like I all about baseball. Everything about me is baseball. But the ABS challenge system, I believe, is like 15 to 20 years overdue. It just has to happen. And I think it should happen at every level, to be honest with you, because umpires just, their zones are wild. And the other thing was the swing off to determine the winner in extra innings. As much as I love the game, I am all about change. And I know that one's a wild one. But I think like something after like the 11th or 12th inning, if you were to implement the swing off to determine a game in the regular season, I'd be all for it. Has the Frontier League ever discussed either one of these in implementing either one of them?
Yeah, I know there's been discussions for the ABS, and so the swing off, like your mini home run derby to end the game. So I coached in a COVID league out in Joliet with the Slammers. And the GM there had implemented that. So, you know, if the game was tied after the 10th or something, so going into the 11th, we would just have a home run derby. So we had, I think, 2 or 3 guys, and they would, you know, get 10 swings or whatever it was. And it would end that way. And then 21, the Frontier League actually did that. So we were having a home run derby to determine games and stuff like that. So it was kind of, I don't know, to decide a game like that, it really wasn't fair because, you know, our team's built on speed, more gap to gap guys, just because the way that our ballpark plays, it plays very big. So, you know, having home run guys doesn't make a lot of sense for us. I mean, right now we got Katowski and Kuzemka that can run them out, Michael Sandel, you know, but to do it in our park, you know, just crowds cheering and all that stuff, you know, to have 1 or 2 home runs hit during that time, it didn't make a lot of sense. So we just kind of went to the sudden death thing, which I think everybody's more in favor of. But yeah, I mean, for the big leagues, it may play a little different. Those guys can run them out whenever they want. So, and it may be more enjoyable for the fan base, but like, I'm a traditionalist. I'm a purist. Like, leave the game alone. You know, you're there for 2.5, 3 hours, maybe sometimes 4. You know, sometimes 17 innings, and you're there to enjoy the game. Just sit back, have a couple of beers and hot dogs, and watch the game. You know. So, but yeah, I mean, for an All-Star game, I'm all for it.
Yeah, no, it was an exciting week this past week. And, of course, you know, the Frontier League had their all-star festivities going on as well. But, you know, like I said, we'll get back into the regular season play, the second half of the season for the Frontier League tonight. kicks off at 6:05 p.m. But as Kevin was saying, get there early for the ceremony for the fighting cancer night, but then also, remembering Bobby Jenks. As a White Sox fan, I mean, there's so many memories that I can run down of seeing Bobby on the mound. Of course, the 2005 series, the season, that postseason comes to mind. Of course, Ozzie Guillen walking out there calling for the big guy, but then also Bobby being on the mound for that final out. I had a keychain that replayed the final call from that. I'd press it all the time until the battery ran out. But knowing that was Bobby on the mound too was incredible. And he's even, I know you can't see us right now, but he's even on this 05 shirt doing his classic two arms up celebration. I even remember going into a game right before Mark Burley's perfect game. It was against the Rays, and that was around the time where Bobby liked to load the bases and make things exciting right before he'd get the final out in the ninth. So it was always fun watching Bobby Jenks. Did you have any, as the other resident White Sox fan, Nick, on the...
I was just going to ask, was there, if it's too personal, completely understandable, but was there anything, maybe the last thing that Bobby said to you before, anything that really stuck with you that just like, that's Bobby, that's how I'm going to remember Bobby Jenks?
I'll just touch on this though. This past September, I ended up losing my nephew, 19-year-old, played football at a college and stuff. And Bobby was one of the first ones to reach out when he heard the news and things like that. But that's just the type of person he was. And but the one memory I do have, and this is as hard as he was, like ultra competitor, like would get on guys if they weren't doing their jobs and things. And like he was a sweetheart in the clubhouse. We had fun. We played the games, always joking around and stuff. But the one memory I do have, and he said this all the time, he goes, whenever my family would call, I'm going to take that. So in spring training during, early work and stuff, if his family called, he would run off the field. And then, me and the assistants would hop up and stuff, but he had his family in, and his little girl, you can hear her from the stands saying, "Hi, Daddy, hi, Daddy." And he'd turn around and wave up to her and say, hey, baby, and blow her kisses and stuff. But, that's just the type of guy he was, man. He would stop everything just for his family and stuff, so.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, we've heard a lot of stories like that coming from Bobby and just how great of a guy he was. Kevin, I want to thank you so much for coming on here, and I know it's been emotional, and it's going to be emotional tonight. Through following you, I know that you're deep into your faith and stuff like that. People who know me know I'm kind of not that, but I will say that when it comes to a time like this, I can't be there tonight, but I would like to be there with you guys. So I want to express, especially from all of us here at WRMN, we're hoping. Just strength and, our thoughts are going out to everybody that'll be there tonight and everybody touched by Bobby in the baseball world and just in the world in general, my man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kevin, and good luck tonight in the game as well, but also, with everything going on. So.
All right. Yeah, thanks for the time again, and I'll see you guys out at the park.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Kevin. That was Kevin Santiago, the Windy City Thunderbolts batting coach, talking about the festivities that'll be going on tonight at Ozinga Field honoring Bobby Jenks. And, you could just hear how emotional both he and the new manager of the Windy City Thunderbolts, who had to step into that role, Toby Hall, also former White Sox, had gotten over Bobby Jenks. And that just speaks to the person that he was.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, for anyone that hasn't taken the time, go to a Windy City Thunderbolts game. It's, very similar to any other kind of minor league ballpark where in the sense that, like, there's a ton of in-game entertainment. You're going to get all this on top of everything. You're going to get some great baseball. So just take the time. It's similar to, like, how I say it, like, support your local Indian wrestling, support your local just minor league baseball team in any sort of way possible. So great way to get out there. And even, like I said, it's a shame to have to go out there for that reason, but it's a great, great event. So please take the time to go out there. It's going to be a great show.
Yeah, absolutely. And for any of us that, you hear the emotion here, and we talk about sports, and we love sports, and I talk about baseball and all that stuff, and my passion for it, but at the end of the day, these guys are still human beings, and when you're going through things, and cancer is, I mean, cancer sucks. I've lost a few family members to the disease, and it's not good, and it's not fun, and for the families that have to go through it, man, it takes a mental and a physical toll on everybody around them. And so, definitely thoughts and prayers to the Jenks family, to his little girls. I can't even imagine the pain and the grief that they are going through. And so you could just hear the emotion in his voice, and how much Bobby meant to that team, and how much of a great human being Bobby was, and a family man. So, for anybody that's going through this, it is a great event to go to. The support that will be there will be tremendous, and I recommend anybody that can to go ahead and take it in.
Yeah, for as great of a baseball player as he was, it just sounds like the human being that he was. He may have been a better human being than a baseball player, which at his level, World Series champion, definitely rings a lot.
It is a shame that it takes a moment like that for like all these stories that come out on Bobby,
Right.
like how good of a dad he is, how good of a player, how good of a coach he is. So again, I think that's exactly right. Just take away from just go in there. It's gonna be lovely to see that, just the outpouring of love, and it was great to see, like, again, kind of revisiting when the passing happened, just the outpouring of love online, the tweets, the posts, the all the coaches and players coming together and talking and reminiscing, just absolutely just a class act. So just again, Bobby was kind of ahead of his time in the sense of like just the closer looking to throw 100 miles an hour and get you struck out. I mean, he had 41 straight players like just retired
batters. It was a record he set. Yeah.
So I mean, it's just again ahead of his time in terms of like the end all be all closer, the must have guy. So just an absolute shame. But again, the outpouring of love, the support that's going to happen from this night, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. So go ahead and enjoy that, guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to be talking with Brian Teague, who covers the Chicago Sky. So we'll be talking a little bit about the All-Star game coming up for the WNBA, and a little bit more about what's in store for the Chicago Sky team. I know we did a little bit of that with Andy Dietrich last week, but real quick in the chat here, Jeff's Train World, my man, we've been talking about racing. Where have you been? I've got one quick note here that answers our question from last week, or 2 weeks ago now? Last week. That was NASCAR coming out with a statement that said, "Thank you for all you've done to make Chicago Street Race one of the most iconic events in global sports. Following the success of the first 3 years, the Chicago Street Race will hit pause in 2026 to afford us the time necessary to work collaboratively with the city of Chicago to explore a new potential date and develop a plan that further optimizes operational efficiencies with a goal to return to the streets of Chicago in 2027. Together, we have built and grown an expanded community of fans that consists of longtime NASCAR enthusiasts and first-time racegoers from around the globe. And for that, we are immensely grateful. Thank you for your continued support, and we look forward to seeing you at the races." So once again, thank you to Kevin Santiago. If you do get a chance, we highly encourage you to head out to the Ozinga Field tonight in order to watch the Windy City Thunderbolts game and take in all of the, circumstances that are going on with Bobby Jenks and the cancer night that they're going to be hosting there. It's a great event. And like we were kind of talking about earlier, minor league baseball is for those that are even more so passionate about baseball, that can't get enough at the major league level, especially with all that all-star festivities this past weekend. But we'll switch gears over here and start talking some basketball. As I said, we'll be joined by Brian Teague when we return. You are listening to AM 1410 WRMN. This is On the Rise. Myself, Mike Napolitano, Dalton Cooper to my left, Nick Johnston on the board for us, and zooming in from his glorious man cave, Mr. Brandon Combs. We will talk to you right here. And stick around at the 10 o'clock hour for the truth about Chicago sports with Marcus Mack and Blake Cowell.
Kick off your weekend with a little flair. It's Dino's Night Out, every Friday from 2 to 4 p.m. on WRMN 1410 AM. Dino brings you the best of the Fox Valley's entertainment scene. Live music, local artists, street festivals, great eats, and the personalities behind them. If it's happening, Dino's talking about it. And bringing the spotlight is none other than the legendary Arcada Theater, located at 105 East Main Street in St. Charles. Catch dinner, drinks, and a show, all under one historic roof. So whether you're making plans or just love to know what's hot, make it a date with Dino's Night Out, Fridays, 2 to 4 p.m. on WRMN 1410 AM, or stream it live at WRMN1410.com. Dino's Night Out, powered by the Arcada Theater, where Fox Valley comes to play.
For nearly 50 years, the DuPage Senior Citizens Council and Kane Senior Council have been dedicated to serving seniors in DuPage and Kane counties. Established in 1975, the DuPage Senior Citizens Council is a volunteer-driven 501c3 non-for-profit organization committed to helping older adults live with dignity. From providing nutritious meals to offering support services, the Kane Senior Council is there every step of the way. With programs designed to enhance independence and quality of life, they're proud to make a difference in the lives of their senior neighbors. To learn more or to volunteer, visit them at 418B Airport Road in Elgin or head to their website at caneseniorcouncil.org. Give them a call at 630-338-0999. That's 630-338-0999. That's the Kane Senior Council, caring for seniors because they deserve to live with dignity and respect. Visit caneseniorcouncil.org or call 630-338-0999 today.
Most people out here think that taking care of one another is important. And most people would step up for a neighbor going through a tough time. Most people around here help out friends and family when they need it. But the funny thing is, most of us won't look for help when we need it. If you're struggling with mental health, you should know that there are resources out there that can help. And it's okay to talk about it if you need to. One place to get started with information is loveyourmindtoday.org. Loveyourmindtoday.org offers a range of guides, instructions, and insights for dealing with difficult situations or getting through a tough time. If you're struggling with mental health, get the help you need, because most people out here really care. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
I know we're at an at-will state, but for making a comment, like, hey, your hair looks good. And then I got a call from HR saying, hey, you know what? You're under investigation. Do I have any recourse?
Were you fired?
No, not yet.
The problem, Eddie, is they can fire you for any reason they want. They literally can wake up in the morning and say, you know what? I'm a little bored this morning. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to fire Eddie for no reason. Yep, he can do that. Yeah, that's California. Yep, welcome.
Handle on the Law. If you're injured and need a lawyer, go to handleonthelaw.com.
If your restaurant's grease is causing problems, don't worry. Hopkins Grease Company is here to help. Since 1947, they've been providing reliable grease recycling, grease trap services, and more for restaurants across the Chicago suburbs. With a full fleet and expert staff, they offer quick professional service. And as a family-run business, they pride themselves on delivering personal service you can trust. Call Hopkins Grease today at 847-458-1010. That's 847-458-1010. Hopkins Grease, the Fox Valley Grease Boys.
Welcome back to AM 1410 WRMN. You're listening to On the Rise here with myself, Mike Napolitano, Brandon Combs zooming in. We've got Dalton Cooper to my left and Nick Johnson running the board here. I saw a wild Blake Cowell just enter not too long ago as well, so the whole cast and crew is here.
He smells so good. He does. He smells amazing.
Are you fanboying?
Yeah, like when we get a little bro hug when he came
in. Hell?
Yeah, he does. He
What are we
smells
talking
so
about?
good. What's wrong with that? I don't understand. He's got a great head of hair, and he smells so good.
He said Versace
Why are
blue.
you sniffing him?
Because, like I said, we dapped up. We did a bro hug. You know, you embrace your comrades. If you would ever, come out to the studio, I would love to give you a hug, Brandon. But
so you're. Well, first
he wants to smell you, Brandon, is what he's saying.
I have a lot of questions.
I don't know. I don't think you guys understand how much I work So
no, I do.
Driving an hour and a half to the studio to talk for 25 minutes is not.
Yeah. What it sounds like you'll be, working up a sweat. You'll have your scent going.
You're Brandon Combs. You talk for way longer than 25 minutes, and that's from a loudmouth Italian over there.
Are you that guy? Are you the guy who as you dap up your bro, you're like, oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's that deep though, but I mean, if somebody I would look out for my friends and be like, hey, if you're ranking a little bit, I'm gonna let you know. I feel like that's a good friend. I'd be like, hey, do you smell yourself, or did you maybe did you fart? But something doesn't smell right. So
Dalton Cooper, our resident BO reporter.
There you go.
Yes.
Okay.
Very nice.
Right. Anyway, yeah, he smells good. I don't understand what's wrong with that.
I don't really know how to transition out of this.
Okay.
I can fart and make it.
No, we're good. We're good. Hector Soto's complimenting Brandon's man cave, though. He says really nice man cave. So we do love getting the view, getting you zooming in. I just wish there was a little bit more White Sox in there. There's not enough. There's a little bit, but
I just appreciate how he said hats off earlier.
Thomas signed helmet sitting right
but
behind
it's not enough. You gotta have more. Oh, and there's Bears stuff there, so I'll settle for that. That's fine.
I'll bring my southpaw. I got 2 southpaw bobbleheads sitting over yonder. I'll bring those up next.
Nice. There you go. Well, I said we would jump out of baseball, so we've got no more baseball really to cover. We'll jump a little bit more into. We were going to go into Sky, but I don't know if we are going to be joined by Brian Teague or not. There may be some complications on his end, not sure, but eventually we'll get him on to get his insight. There is the All-Star game for the WNBA going on this weekend. All-Star games galore going on right now. All the baseball leagues. You've got the WNBA as well. So, gentlemen, we got to see the three-point shooting contest last night in the skills competition for the WNBA, and Caitlin Clark cannot miss. Did you get a chance to see any of that?
Caitlin Clark. I thought it was Sabrina Ionescu that won.
Oh yeah, she won, but Caitlin was going off as well too. I'm pretty sure.
Are you trying to do a Shane Gillis bit right now, or are you trying to throw us off?
I was wondering.
No, the headliner is the fact.
Clark not play at all.
Yes,
she's not. Yeah.
The headliner is that she is unfortunately out for the weekend, back on injured reserve. Which Chicagoans are nervous at the fact that may mean she's out for the second meeting between the Sky and the Fever in Chicago, which of course is both games are being held at the United Center. So. We'll see, but no, it looked like Caitlin Clark out there, but it was Sabrina Ionescu that was going off from the logo basically on that 3-point contest shooting. All right, it was a poor joke, although you were over here talking about people's BO. I'm like,
You didn't deliver it like Shane Gillis. I'd rather talk about the people's BO.
I was going to say, and
I'm not Shane Gillis. I'm not Shane Gillis. Also, I wasn't trying to joke. I was trying to go, wait a minute. Hold on. Right, wipe your eyes.
Gillis.
That's not Caitlin Clark. But Sabrina Ionescu, she's been there for longer, and she showed why. Are you there, Brandon? Were you going to say something?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
I thought we were the way you delivered it. I thought we were going to another.
Oh no, sorry.
Not
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
lie. I thought you had like some crazy sound clip of a ball going through a hoop or something.
Real intriguing on that one.
Yeah, trust me, I know. I love the way Shane Gillis delivered that joke, by the way. But anyway.
Yes. Yeah. I'm surprised ESPN let him go on that.
I did actually. I know. I did actually see the some of it because I was in studio last night, so I got to see some of it out the corner of my eye while I was working the show. It was interesting. As far as the Ionescu stuff, like she couldn't miss. Like she was ridiculous. I thought she was going to run the entire rack and go perfect, which I don't think we've ever seen either at the men's level or the women's level.
No,
I don't think so.
Allie Quigley still has the record. 20 of 25 is the all-time record. Which is she on the hot seat now? Because Ionescu's a 2-time champion.
Yeah. It could be.
Maybe. I like the first. I don't even know what the event was called because I didn't get to like watch the thing.
That's what I was wondering. Is it more than just the 3-point contest?
No, it is skills challenge.
They
as well,
had this. They had this challenge where they raced around the court. It was 3 bounce passes through this cylinder that they had.
Okay, so similar to the NBA skills comp.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, they had like these winding arms or something.
Yeah.
They had free over and race through. It was really cool. It was fun to watch. I'm not. I don't. The basketball all-star competitions, even the NBA, to me are just like they're not. I don't think I can't remember the last time I watched this year's dunk competition, but I was not. It's not the same. as it used to be. I'm not as impressed anymore as I used to be. So it's tough, but it was decent for something with, I had to watch it with no sound. It did keep my eye a couple times.
Honestly, the dunk competition in the summer league for the NBA has been more exciting. Unfortunately, though, and at the expense of Bulls fans, because it was Noah Senge, the recent draft pick, that was put on a poster. Did you guys get a chance to see that? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's
and
not what you want to start your career.
He's been putting together a couple other games, like, some 20-point games here on shooting like 7 for 14. So some actually pretty decent stats, like some pretty good box scores, but he's just never going to recover from that.
No.
I say never. It's still going to be a very long time. And again, I also agree with the internet. Just that picture looks fake. It looks like AI put it together.
It does.
Yeah. And you kind of buried the lead on WNBA All-Star Weekend, by the way, because like the big talking point was the CBA agreement that's coming up in a couple. I think it's next year. So they were doing a 40-person or 40-plus person meeting, if you will, and that was kind of the big talk of the town this weekend. Because when I was at the Sky game last week, there were some grumblings of like, oh, well, Angel Reese may be out of town depending on how the CBA goes, because they're looking to obviously increase salaries and revenue and stuff like that. So big weekend for the WNBA, at least from the business side of things too.
That would be interesting, because then you're kind of questioning, where is this Sky team going directionally? I mean, that's your star player. That's arguably the face of your franchise right now. And if you're not willing to re-up just because the salaries have gone up, then what direction is this team really going to be going in? So it poses a lot of questions. We'll see what this Sky team does post All-Star break here, as the All-Star festivities are happening this weekend in Indianapolis. So the Fever are hosting, but like I said, Caitlin Clark not there. We'll see if she is back in time for next Sunday, in which this department will be in attendance at the United Center for Sky versus Fever to see, hopefully, Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark, but at the very least, like I said, Sky versus Fever. We'll get a chance to talk to some of those players and take in the atmosphere. I know, Dalton, you and Blake got a chance to go the first time, so I'll kind of be looking to you to see what the environment's like. Even though I've been in the United Center a million times for Blackhawks and Bulls, and we've been to a bunch of Sky games, this will be a merging of the two.
Is there a United Center curse with this now? And we might be 0 for 2 with getting Caitlin Clark in the UC.
It might be.
Point.
Deadline for WNBA trade deadline is August 3rd, by the way.
Okay.
So
you blame me?
I always blame you. I think the curse.
It's just so easy.
That this is what happens when you go to the United Center, and I think you're the reason. Anytime that you are scheduled to cover Caitlin Clark, she gets injured.
Hey, I wasn't scheduled the first time. I don't want to hear it.
I don't believe that. I don't believe it for one second.
Listen, my gigantic nose might be in Indianapolis right now taking in the All-Star break, but I promise you I was not, my finger was not on the pulse of any of this. I'll
don't believe you.
All right. Well, the Sky, of course, are in the midst of the All-Star game, so we'll get back to some of their information next week as the games start ramping up in the regular season. But, gentlemen, we have had some news in Blackhawks world recently. We had the Blackhawks signing a goaltender. Forgive me, I got to pull up that information on his name, but not exactly, though.
Probably still won't be able to pronounce it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, I'm looking at the names of the transactions here. And
5 O's and 2 U's.
I'd like to buy a vowel, yeah.
But, I mean, honestly, not really the offseason that we were expecting from Kyle Davidson. I think we were expecting, like, another shoe to drop at some point here. We think still big a big move is still on the table for this Blackhawks team.
Watching?
What's that?
Have you not been watching the Blackhawks over the last 3 years? Why were you expecting Kyle Davidson to do more?
Well, this was the year that they said that there was going to be some kind of a splash made, and honestly, it needed to happen. You didn't exactly hear that from Kyle Davidson, but names around the board.
Are you forgetting Burakovsky? I mean, he's a 2-time Stanley Cup champion, Michael.
Listen, I'm not.
How many cups do you have?
I'm not putting. I'm not putting anything against Andre Burakovsky. I'm just saying he's a little bit more on the back. I mean, if they're projecting him to be in the bottom 6 of the forwards on this bottom level team, I mean, it'll bring you some veteran depth that you need. It'll bring you some Stanley Cup pedigree that you lost with a couple of guys retiring this past year, and Alec Martinez and Pat Maroon. And I think Burakovsky can still move a little bit better than maybe the both of them because he's not quite as old. But I mean, when is the big free agent going to come to Chicago? And that was my question. I think we posed it to maybe we were talking about it with either the Chicago Hockey Radio gentleman or Jack Heinrich, is we've seen Kyle Davidson draft well. We've seen Kyle Davidson make decent moves at the trade deadline to either acquire or move contracts. Of course, it was big veterans that many Blackhawks fans didn't want to see go. However, I mean, he was able to get it done. The only thing we haven't seen Kyle Davidson able to do is reel in that big fish. Bring in that free agent that is going to really solidify and move forward this rebuild for Blackhawks fans. And I just don't think that's there yet. Obviously it's not there yet because there's no contract on the table for anybody.
Well, maybe this coming free agency is going to be the big one anyway, because there's a lot of big fish out there. I mean, Connor McDavid still hasn't re-signed in Edmonton, so maybe hold on to your butts, boys. We might have Connor McDavid next season.
I don't think Connor McDavid's coming to Chicago. That's just me. But I will say that the Blackhawks acquired future considerations from the Vancouver Canucks for forward Ilya Safonov, and they also reacquired Sam Lafferty from the Buffalo Sabres in exchange for a 2026 sixth-round pick. So good pickup to get Sam Lafferty back. You didn't give up a whole lot to get him, and that adds to your depth. There are some contract talks as well with Connor Bedard. It was just his birthday 2 days ago, so just turned 20 years
Connor.
old. Yeah, happy birthday, Connor.
Listening.
20 years old, and we're already talking about re-upping his contract here in Chicago because he is this next face of the franchise. But is there going to be somebody that's able to play with him? I don't know.
Look, it's tough. Like when you continuously are going through a rebuild, and the Blackhawks are going through a rebuild. It seems like within the rebuild, both teams inside the United Center seem to be doing that. Which is weird. It's probably because you keep going to the building. But it's like I just don't understand, because of all the salary cap space that they have. Why aren't you going out and making the big moves? Why aren't you going out and why isn't your name? Why aren't the Blackhawks name in on the biggest free agents? Like, this is the Chicago Blackhawks. They are an original six team. People would love to play here. Why are you not going out and getting the top stars?
Well, in fairness, the biggest star wasn't available because he got traded at the very last minute, and that was going to be Mitch Marner. So they really didn't have a chance to really bid on. But I mean, outside of Mitch Marner, there really wasn't any big-time free agents to go after. I think again, they're saving their chips for next season, where there are a lot more top free agents available, like what you're speaking to as far as talent-wise.
I'm just tired of when do we stop saving our chips?
Right. And I think that kind of answers all of our questions. Is it going to happen this year or next year? And not just with the big splash in free agency, because like you said, yeah, some of those big names were swallowed up. I would have liked to see a move made here. But then you're also talking about, do the Blackhawks have one more tank year in them? And I'm not saying anybody's outright tanking, but do they have one more year of sitting at the bottom of the league in order to earn that high draft pick and then take Gavin McKenna, who is cousins with Connor Bedard and touted to go first overall, just like his cousin did? And he is, once again, we're throwing out that term that I don't like to use too much, but I'm going to use it here. He is yet again another generational talent is what they're predicting. So do you risk it all on one more tank year here in Chicago to have Gavin McKenna play alongside Connor Bedard, and then also bring in a huge free agent signing that next summer? Then, I mean, you're talking then a lot of contracts are going to be on the books, and that's going to be a lot of money. I understand the salary cap is going up. We're adding more games to the season, but are you then looking at having to pay too many guys to the point where I don't know if you can repeat like what you did in 2010 through 2015, where you have multiple chances at cups? I mean, are you just looking at one then because you can't afford everybody after that first or second cup run?
No, I mean, you got to let the kids play. You have this young defensive core that, like, 4 out of the guys that are going to probably play in the defensive core this year didn't play in the NHL last year, or at least 3 of them with, Korchinski and Labshinov and others. But I think I look at this team like the Calgary Flames of last year. We obviously don't have Dustin Wolf, but they had a bunch of young talent. They weren't expected to do anything. Dustin Wolf plays like Igor Shesterkin for a year.
Yeah.
So we got Spencer Knight now, so that's kind of solidified. But yeah, I mean, that's just the way I see it. Is you let the kids play, you see what you got, you evaluate. If it goes well, great. If it doesn't go well, at least you know what you got. You can maybe move, Korchinski, et cetera, and then you can reevaluate from there. But I mean, this team is not gonna. This team can't compete with like Vegas, even in like the top dogs of the West. The Dallas is I would say the Kings, but they just got really old all of a sudden. But just the top teams of the West, we're not going to compete with those teams. So it's like, why not punt for one more year and see what you can get out of it?
That's fair.
Because as a fan base, you're getting tired of punting. I mean,
it is.
Look, I get from a business perspective, and I understand that all of these teams are businesses, and they have a bottom line, and they have a plan in place and things that they want to do. But at some point, you're wasting some of the best years of Connor Bedard. Like that's what I look at it as. It's the same thing in any other sport. When you like the Bears, when they were wasting the prime years of Khalil Mack because they weren't putting an offense together, it was frustrating, right? Because no matter however many years you're in this rebuild for, and you don't continue to build around them with top talent, you are wasting years of your top players, and that's what I don't get. That's the thing that I need to explain to me. Like I'm 5 years old, is how does it make sense to not continue to put top talent around guys that you are drafting top in the draft?
Yeah.
Is this prime Bedard though?
Right.
I mean, he's
prime,
getting there.
but
It's his young
these
years.
are important years.
These are important developmental years. He did change his training regiment this year, we've been told. So look to see him creating more space and adjusting better to an 82-game regular season, which is about to turn into an 84-game regular season in the NHL. But, I mean, like you said, when is it that you're going to get the guys around him that are going to help him create the space? Because he can only do so much. I mean, granted, yes, the top players like the Connor McDavids, sometimes they can just command the game, be a game breaker, and do it all themselves. And I believe Connor Bedard can get to that level despite some reports. And even we've had Charlie Roumeliotis on the show, and he even said, he's like, I don't know if Connor Bedard is that game breaker guy that everybody's like kind of expecting him to be, but he is going to be up there in guys you talk about. He was saying basically think of him like an Austin Matthews that gets the job done and is out there leading the team every night rather than a Connor McDavid. Those are, I'm paraphrasing here, but that's what I would compare it to. However, I don't even think that's the case.
Though, right?
I think he'll find it.
When you have a young player that is constantly going through losing seasons, what that does to their psyche, right? Because when you have these guys that are so used to winning, I mean, all of these players in the top draft, they're out there because they're superstars that are used to winning on their junior teams, right? These are guys that are come out, and now all of a sudden you throw Connor Bedard into a losing situation where he is the best player on the ice, and it's clearly obvious that he is the best player on the ice on this team time after time after time, and he can't get anything done because he has nobody that can feed him the puck, because he has nobody he can dish the puck off to that he can trust, because when they're skating down the other end of the net, they don't have a defense to stand in front of a puck to stop the other team from putting it in the damn net. So
That's true too.
It's got to be frustrating for these players. I've said it for a long time with the White Sox, right? When you look at guys like Luis Robert, when you look at guys, Tim Anderson, it just looks like the joy gets sucked out of them when they know they are going to be playing in a losing organization. And you have to change that culture inside the locker room. And you're not changing that culture inside the locker room when you're not bringing top talent in to play with them.
Well, my question to that point, and I guess to your previous point too, is like, if you want them to take a step forward, why would they hire Jeff Blashill? Like, why wouldn't they go out and make the splashier head coaching decision? I think the organization is setting the expectation by hiring Blashill, who is probably more of a developmental coach and not kind of like the guy that's probably going to lead you to a Stanley Cup or like even to a deep playoff run. I mean, if he does,
is that
great.
Another problem?
So
is that another problem?
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily a problem. I think it's just setting, like, they understand, the organization itself understands where they're at right now, and they went with, I think to, like, just to counterpoint you, like, they set the expectation, like, hey, we are still building and developing and growing. We are not in like a win now situation. And that's good. They're at least telling you what they're expecting this team to do, which I think from a managerial standpoint and from a fan perspective, I think is great, because at least I know moving forward, like, okay, this is what at least the front office is thinking. Maybe that changes in 2 years. And I know it probably gets old after a while. I'm not going to argue that, because it definitely does. Like, nobody likes losing, right? It's sports. But at the same point in time, it's like, Chicago, like you brought up the White Sox, like they literally went from the playoffs to like a contending team to literally to the basement. And like that was literally overnight, basically. So at least you kind of know with this Blackhawks team, they're building back to hopefully getting back to Cup contenders.
Right, but you had the developmental coach already in place when you put in the interim from Rockford. I'm going to forget his name. But when you put in the interim from Rockford, he was a developmental coach. Now you're bringing in another developmental coach, which tells me that either A, it's going to be another 1 or 2 year stint with another coach, and then you're going to give Connor Bedard another coach to learn another system. Like that's where I say that's a problem. If you didn't bring in the developmental coach to work with him to say, hey, this is what we're going to do, and this year we're going to bring in top talent, we're going to bring in a top coach, because at some point you have to have stability there. At some point you have to know, hey, this is where we're going and this is where we're headed. I can't imagine that you went to Connor Bedard and said, hey, we're going to hire Jeff Blashill for the next 2 to 3 years. It's going to be more about development than winning. That I'd lose my mind if I heard that.
I actually think this Jeff Blashill hiring is going to be better. And yes, of course, it's going to be developmental for a lot of these young guys. And, you look at a guy like Frank Nazar, who can be that guy that plays next to Connor Bedard, and we'll see if that gets developed, of course. But I think Blashill was a better hire. I'm not saying he's the guy that is going to take you to championships, but I do think it's less of a get-me-over coach, and it's less of a developmental. I mean, it's like I said, it's still developmental, but I think it's less of a developmental coach and more of a, this is our guy that we want right now. Like, we're not just going to hire somebody to, like I said, get us over to then getting the guy, because like you said, with Anders Sorensen and a couple of these other coaches, it's been a revolving door, and it's been a lot of coaches that have not had experience at the NHL level, but Jeff Blashill does. So I think that's where the buck stops and things start to change here. We'll see as we get further into the hockey season. As we wrap things up here, though, we'll get further into the football season next week, as we are going to have to bring in a little bit more Bears talk, because it'll be the last week here in July, leading into August, which everybody knows is the start, really, of the NFL season. So
Hall of Fame games in like 10 days.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Hall of Fame game is in July this year, the way the schedule falls. So, yeah. But for the Bears season will start in August. We'll get a little bit of that in there. We'll also get a little bit more on who we think is going to be taking each division. More Sky talk next week. We'll get back to our regularly programmed Frontier League and American Association news, as well as some soccer news as we inch closer towards playoffs in both of those. But as we stay on the hockey talk here, one more note from myself, and actually from Dalton, because you'll be there as well. So far, so good. The Schaumburg Hockey League will be having our 14th annual Stanley Cup Final next weekend at Timbercrest Park in Schaumburg at 7 p.m. Saturday the 26th. So get on out there, come see us. It'll be the best on best. You don't have to wait till the 2026 Olympics. You could see USA versus Canada in a roller match out here in Schaumburg. It'll be fun. We got announcers, music. Maybe there's some kind of fireworks on and off the rink. I don't know.
Some mischief.
Don't tell the village.
Yeah. Nice.
It'll be better than watching the Blackhawks this year.
It will be. I can promise you that. So, gentlemen, thank you again for always hopping on, giving your takes. Great discussion today. Thank you to all those that have tuned in and watching. Thank you again to Kevin Santiago for joining us today. Myself, Mike Napolitano, Dalton Cooper, Nick Johnston on the board, and Brandon Combs zooming in. This has been another edition of On the Rise right here on AM 1410 WRMN. Stay tuned for the truth about Chicago sports.
Love you guys.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.